Hey everybody, AJ the One here. How we all doing? And I'm doing fine myself. I'll be doing part 7 to What If Deku, or the redo of part 7 to What If Deku was a swordsman. Last time I left off, hope you're all having a nice day, because I know I am myself. Now to start the What If. Last time I left off, Izuku had passed out from his injuries. After killing Jinzo. After some time, some more heroes would appear and take everybody to the hospital. As we would skip about a day. When Izuku would wake up, he would see that his body is wrapped up in bandages. His arms, his legs would be strung in the air, covered in bandages and a brace. His left arm would be in a brace, and his right arm would also be hanging in the air. He would see that there are bandages, and there would be bandages all over his body, as he would basically look like a mummy, just none really around his mouth or his nose. Izuku would try to lightly sit up until he would feel an immense amount of pain in his ribs. His breathing would begin to get heavy, as his back and shoulders would also begin to feel an immense amount of pain, as Izuku would fall back in his bed. After some time, a nurse would walk in, seeing Izuku, as she would give him a checkup, as she would leave, telling Izuku that she was going to call the doctor. After about an hour, Shinya Kamihara, Edshot, and all of Class 1A would walk into the emergency room, as the doctor would explain to Izuku the fact of that Izuku should drop out of UA. Everyone would look shocked when the doctor would say this, as Shinya would be the first one to ask why. The doctor would simply just sigh, saying that Izuku's body is far too injured for him to participate in any of the activities, and on top of that, if Izuku were to truly just stay here and have his body fully recovered, by the time he would be fully recovered, his friends would probably already be pro heroes. It would take Izuku years to fully recover to do any of the things that UA will most likely try to prepare him for. The best thing that Izuku could truly do is just drop out of UA, then the next couple of years, just take on a hero agency or something. Izuku, hearing this out loud, would almost get upset, thinking that he would have to do something like that. As everybody in the room would also sort of look saddened. Until the doctor would say something that would catch Izuku's interest. The doctor would say that the only real way for Izuku to truly stay in UA is if somebody has a quirk that allows him to move without physically moving at all. Basically have his body recover. Basically have his mind almost recover his body in a sort of a way. Everybody would sort of just stand there, pause, thinking, is there really a quirk like that? But Izuku would sort of just sit there and think if there's really any way to do that. As Izuku would close his eyes and try to remember back to everything that the old man had taught him. Until Izuku's eyes would whiten, as he would realize that he now has a way to recover. When this would happen, the doctor would continue explaining other small things about Izuku's injuries, as everybody in 1A would leave. Kendo would look back at Izuku as she would walk over and tell Izuku that he'll be fine, and she will look for someone to help him. Izuku would just simply shake his head and tell Kendo with a very gentle smile that he'll be fine, and that he'll be back to school stronger than he ever was before. Kendo seeing Izuku's gentle smile would give one right back as she would walk out the room. But as soon as she did, the smile would drop, as she would almost be brought to tears on the fact basically it's like seeing somebody knowing that they're going to fail still be cheery. It's still, almost depressing almost. It might give some people hope, but still knowing that there's no form of success in this situation and you're still this hopeful, it brings people to tears. So Kendo's crying over Izuku basically. But anyway, Shinya would be the last person in the room as he would hug Izuku lightly, as he would tell Izuku that he'll visit him every day, or at least as much as he can since he starts to do hero work. As Izuku would tell Shinya that would thank Shinya, but telling him that he might not have to do that. We would skip 5 weeks later from this incident. All of Class 1A is now studying and working hard for their test to see if they go to a summer camp since it's closing in on summer. For this time, they've all been studying, training, working hard, more than ever before, to now pass this test so they can go to the summer camp. During this 5 weeks, around 3 days ago, when the fifth week started, so basically on Monday, Tuesday, so it's a Wednesday. So on Wednesday, all the students would have been announced that Izuku had gotten out of the hospital 2 days ago, and is now home. Everyone would be happy and wondering if Izuku was fully okay, but also some would also be shocked that he got out so early. As the doctor would say that Izuku had to wait years, basically, for Izuku to get back into UA. So, how is he out now? Nobody would really have a time to check up on Izuku, except for Kendo and Inasa. Those would be the two real ones to go out of their way or their time to go and see Izuku. Kendo and Inasa would both appear at Izuku's house, knocking as Kendo would knock on the door. When the door would open, they would see Izuku sweating and breathing lightly heavily, would be breathing hard and would be sweating. His left arm would still be in a brace, as bandages would be wrapped around his head, and two bandages would be on each side of his face. As his right arm would also still be lightly bandaged as well. Izuku would look at Kendo and Inasa as he would look lightly shocked, as he would say, "Oh, hey, come in. I know it's hot outside. What would you like? Some tea, some water? What would you like?" Kendo and Inasa would sort of be confused as they would just see Izuku just acting casually. Inasa and Kendo will both give Izuku a hug as, well, last time they saw him, he was bandaged up in the bed. I would say Kendo would hug Izuku, but when Kendo let go of Izuku, Inasa would probably just bow his head so hard that his head hit the ground, basically apologizing to Izuku that he was too weak to help him. He'd probably do that. Nope. But apologizing that he was too weak to help him. He wasn't fast enough or strong enough to catch Izuku when he was falling to the ground, and then on top of that, he let Kendo get hit when he was stuck to the wall. It's his fault that Izuku was like this. He's sorry. Kendo and Izuku would look confused, as Inasa basically explained to them ever since Izuku was in the hospital, he's been feeling responsible for all of Izuku's injuries. And when the doctor told Izuku that he might not be able to become a hero, or at least in the next couple of years, he felt even worse. And now he's fully apologizing for it. Izuku would begin laughing lightly as he would look at Inasa, as he would slowly get down to one knee, as his ribs still hurt. As he would put one hand on Inasa's shoulder, as he would look at him dead in his eyes. He would tell Inasa that there's no reason for him to apologize. He could have grabbed Ida and ran away anytime he wanted to. He could have killed Genzo anytime he wanted to. He could have stopped the fight. He could have done a plethora of other things. But he stayed and kept fighting. He could have literally ran off to the side and rested the entire time when he hit the ground. And there's so many things that Izuku could have, that he could have done in that situation, and so could I. But in the end, he chose what he chose, and Inasa shouldn't feel bad at all for what happened. Izuku would tell this to Inasa. As Inasa would be almost brung to the brink of tears. As Inas would fully stand up, as he would quickly wipe them away, and as he would tell Izuku, thank you. Izuku would try to get back up on his feet, but before he fully could, he would fully fall down again, back down to both knees, as Kendo and Inasa both help up Izuku. Izuku would thank them. Izuku would sort of wobbly walk into the living room, seeing as Kendo and Inasa would see Shinya sitting on the couch in his hero outfit as he just got home from doing hero work. Kendo and Inasa would be seeing Shinya sitting on the couch in a crisscross position with both of his hands basically just sitting in his lap, as he would be slightly hunched over with his head looking down with both of his eyes closed. He would be breathing heavily as he would also be sweating profusely. As Kendo and Inasa would look confused, as Izuku would look back at the both of them. As seeing their confusion, Izuku would simply tell them that he's just training. As soon as Izuku would say this, Shinya would have ended up opening up his eyes, taking a deep breath. As he would quickly get out of his position, he would need breath so badly that he would have to quickly turn around and take down his mask to not show his face in front of the kids. No, we don't really know why he keeps the mask on, so I'm assuming that he just has a normal face. But either way, I'm assuming it's something like a Kakashi situation. So we don't really know the backstory of Shinya, so I would say he would probably turn around, put down his mask, and begin breathing as he would pull his mask back up. He would look at the two as he would wave his hand greeting them. But after that, he would quickly ask Midoriya to bring him a bottle of water. Izuku would say it's no problem as he would try to walk over to the kitchen, but his legs would have ended up giving way as Izuku would fall to the ground, landing on both of his knees and his hand as he would begin coughing. Kendo and Inasa both look worried as they would quickly run into the kitchen, grabbing their water bottles, or grabbing each of them a water bottle. Izuku and Shinya would both drink the water bottle as they would both sort of slouch back. Shinya would thank the both of them for coming, or thank the both of them for coming to see Izuku and for the water bottles. But right now he needs to get back to his training, so he'll continue. He would say this as he would get back in the same position as he would close his eyes, as he would almost basically just sleep almost in a way. Kendo would ask Izuku if he's alright, as he would say that he's fine. But then that he would look over at Inasa, basically almost staring at Shinya in confusion. Izuku would tell Shinya would tell Inasa that he's training. Inasa, as Kendo would look at Shinya and then look back at Izuku and ask how. As Izuku would sort of look almost confused and up into the air on how to really explain. As Izuku would look back at both of them, he would tell them that it's almost like a form of shadow boxing, but without moving. So it's basically like shadow boxing, but inside of your head. For example, as Izuku would give an example of this, Izuku would tell them that for a prime example, he could go inside of his mind and basically create a figure of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. He could give it the strength that he could estimate for a Tyrannosaurus Rex, the speed of that he could estimate, the reaction time, everything about it. On even the size, and honestly, he could even just make up his own assumptions about his feats. And after that, he could fight the Tyrannosaurus Rex again, and again, and again, and again, and again, for as many times as he wants. The fight could be almost seconds, but in real time, it's only been like a couple minutes. The fight could have been hours, but in real life, it could have only been a couple of seconds. But that's only for real professionals that could really do something like that. But beyond that, How it helps you is basically it just improves your body and your reaction time and your strength, and especially your speed, out of all things. Kendo and Inasa would both look almost in shock and confusion, almost with their eyes, almost asking Izuku to say more. As Izuku would look at them and tell them, if they were to both sit down, as Izuku would basically say that for the technique to work, that they would need to get in a very comfortable position, no matter what the position was, just long as it's comfortable to the person. They could be hanging upside down, hanging from a lava pit, it doesn't matter. They could be sleeping, laying on their stomach, their back. They could even be laying on top of their head. Even spinning in circles could even work. In the end, just as long as the person is comfortable, the technique should still work. Because of this, the technique would still work. Izuku would tell them that all they have to do is just take in deep inhales and exhales constantly for about as long as they are in the fight. As Inasa and Kendo would almost look in awe of the fact that Izuku knows a technique like this, as Inasa's eyes would bug out, as a large grin would get across his face, as he would lightly hunch over, spread his legs, and bend his knees, almost like in a basic anime protagonist yelling position. As he would basically yell out loud, yelling for Izuku to train him. As Kendo would also look over at Inasa, then back at Izuku, as she would stand up and bow herself to ask Izuku to also teach it to her. Izuku would lightly chuckle as he would say that there's no need for asking, and he was planning to do it anyway. So Kendo and Inasa would both get in very comfortable positions. Kendo, she would basically be sitting on both knees with her hands in her lap, as she would have her head down with her eyes closed. Inasa would just basically be slouched on the couch, his arms and his legs being laid out, as he would just be in a very comfortable position. No, I would say that Inasa would just be laying down normally on the couch. As Izuku would basically be almost explaining the area to them. So imagine themselves maybe in the forest or in the city, or maybe just in the UA Sports Festival arena. You hear the crowd cheering around them, the flames erupting, and even the gust of the wind, or even the rustle of the grass. As Inasa and Kendo are both just sitting listening to Izuku, they both see themselves inside the UA Sports Festival arena with their hero suits on. And while still hearing Izuku's voice, they would tell them, now think of the person that you think is strongest, that you think is a worthy enough opponent for you to fight. Imagine them. Imagine everything you know about them, their speed, their height, their strength, their reaction speed. Everything that you need to know about them to fight them. As soon as this is happening, Kendo would sort of get a more vision of Nana Shimura I would say All Might. She would sort of get a vision of All Might as soon as this would happen. And as soon as this would happen, Inasa would get an image of Todoroki. They would, as Izuku would simply tell them, now begin your battle. Train as hard as you can. Make them as strong as you want, and continue to fight. And after about an hour of fighting, Inasa and Kendo would both be tired, as Izuku and Shinya would also be tired themselves from training the entire day. After some point, Izuku would have ended up getting Kendo and Inasa some water bottles. As seeing that the both were so tired, as Shinya seeing that the both were so tired of Kendo and Inasa, he would ask the both of them if they just wanted to just stay the night. He has no problem with it, and honestly, Izuku, it's been a while since Izuku has had anyone over. It'd be good for Izuku to have some company. So Inasa and Kendo would both ask their parents via text or phone call, and their parents would approve as they would basically be staying for one night. They would all take a shower but how would they call? As they would have no problem with it. As well, they would all get in the shower. Izuku would just be sitting in his bed, maybe in I'm pretty sure like a bathrobe. As soon as he got out, maybe just some basic shorts, a t-shirt, and slippers, sure, and whatnot. Inasa would have the same thing, and Kendo would most likely the same thing. No, I would say Inasa would probably go bare feet. But anyway, while they would all be sitting around, Izuku would end up cooking some food. Shinya, Inasa, and Kendo would have all eaten it as they would all be on their way to bed. They would all be sleeping. Inasa would be knocked out completely on the floor, snoring kind of loudly. As Shinya would have also been asleep in his own room, quietly. But after some time, Kendo would have ended up waking up, seeing, as she would see Izuku just sitting at the kitchen table, just sitting there, almost staring into nothingness with a cup in his hand. Kendo would put in with the light on, of course, but it would be very dim, so it looked kind of creepy. As Kendo would walk over, she would ask if Izuku was okay. Izuku would turn around quickly, seeing Kendo as his mind would no. He would just turn around quickly, almost in fear, as he would close his eyes, shake his head, and put his hand on his face and see that he's all right. As he would drink a little bit more of his tea. As Kendo would have ended up sitting across from Izuku on the table. Izuku would look over at Kendo, as she would have a slightly serious look on her face. As Izuku would ask her, "What is it?" Kendo would be looking at Izuku. As she would ask, does he feel any remorse for killing that Jinzo guy? Izuku would sit there, pause for a few seconds, as he would sort of raise an eyebrow in confusion. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I feel? Kendo would ask the question again. Does he feel any remorse? Does he feel anything? Does he care that he killed him? Izuku would say that yes, he cares when he kills anybody. Kendo, hearing this out loud, would look confused as what do you mean anybody? As she would ask Izuku, is this his first time killing? Is this not his first time killing someone? Izuku would shake his head, saying no. This hasn't been the first time he's killed someone. As Izuku would sit there in silence, as he would look down, almost with a sad smile. As he would say, not to honestly brag about this, but that might have been his 100th kill. Kendo would look shocked as this. What? Are you serious? Izuku would just simply look back up at her with the same smile and the same almost sad smile look on his face, as he would say, yeah, it is. He wasn't treated well as a child. He was treated well, of course, but he was always forced to do things that he never wanted to do. And killing people was one of those things. That's why he's so good with a sword, because that's all he was ever meant to do. Or at least in a certain person's eyes. Kendo would sit in silence. She would almost just not know what else to say. Izuku would look up from his cup and ask Kendo, does she hate him? Kendo would look up and would look confused as Izuku would repeat himself. Does she hate him for killing Jinzo? As he wouldn't be, as I wouldn't be shocked at all if she did. I hate me too. I hate me too sometimes. As Kendo would quickly get up from her seat, as as she would look over at and she would look at Izuku in his eyes, saying that she doesn't hate him at all. It's slightly disturbing, but she could never hate him. But all she wants to really know is just why. Izuku, Kendo would say this, that she would sit back down in her seat, just holding one arm with another, just basically having one arm straight down and then holding it with the other. She would sit down. Izuku would look at her in the eyes, as Izuku would say. The short and straight answer is that it was almost just casual for him. Honestly, he's killed people all of his life, and that's all he's really ever done. So just killing Jinzo almost felt casual, not because it was just him, or not just because he was a person that he needed to kill, because he felt rage towards Jinzo for what he hit Kendo. And almost it seemed like that he was gonna kill her. So killing someone out of rage is just so casual for him. But the long and drawn out answer, haven't you ever had the feeling that, or wouldn't you kill for your parents? Wouldn't, if somebody were to threaten your parents or threaten their lives, would you kill them for it? Kenda would almost pause to this statement as she would lightly shake her head. Izuku would say, exactly. In that situation, someone that I held dear to me was in danger. Out of pure rage and nothing and no other option, and all I've ever known, I killed him. It's that point blank simple. Kenda and Izuku would again sit in silence. As Kendo would get up from her seat and walk over to Izuku and get him and hug him. Kendo would say to Izuku that he doesn't need to kill anymore. He doesn't have to anymore. Something like that shouldn't be so casual to him. He's okay now. He's in a place where people love him, where people care for him, and he doesn't have to kill. Izuku hearing these words, he would hug Kendo with his one good arm, as he would tell her that he would never kill anyone ever again. He promised. As Kendo would grab Izuku by his hand, as she would pull him up out of his seat, telling her that it's late and it's time for them to go back to bed. Izuku and Kendo would walk down the hall with holding hands as they would both go back to the bedroom, as they would both go to sleep. With Inasa still snoring loudly, which Izuku and Kendo would chuckle to the fact, as they'll both fall asleep. The next morning, Kendo and Inasa would both leave. So go back to, they both leave around the same time in the morning, guys. They would take the same way that Izuku does to go to school. And during this time, Izuku and Shinya are still just training. Shinya will be going out for hero work, and Izuku would just be training. Also, to basically explain what Shinya is doing with his newfound ability of the technique, Shinya is now using this ability to almost fight against other heroes and previous villains that he's fought against to get better and stronger. So, for example, he would be fighting people like, it would be variations of, I would say, Night Eye to All Might to, who else we have, Power Loader to Death Arms to Kamui Woods to Mount Lady. And then on top of that, a bunch of other random previous villains that he's fought before. And then on top of that, he will be fighting people, and he will be fighting them constantly while he's at home. So because of this, he would have gotten extremely stronger, faster, and all the other sorts. I would say Shinya's about as strong enough to do if he would reel back his punch and punch with every fiber of his being with a all-out punch. He will probably shatter a concrete pillar into pieces. No, I mean into pieces. I mean like I mean, like, he could just uppercut or kick the bottom of a pillar. Like the very base of it, and I would say even the top of it would crack into pieces as it would all fall down. He originally is faster than sound with his quirk, but I would say he might even be faster now. I would say around even lightning. I would say around even lightning speed with the because of the amps that he's got, and I would say his reaction time about the same. And also on top of that, to get to Izuku, what he's doing with it, he would just be constantly fighting Jinzo. The reason for Jinzo, out of all people, Izuku has never fought anybody as strong as Jinzo in his life in the most recent years. The strongest thing he would say that probably met, the second strongest thing would be the Nomu. Number one would be Jinzo. Jinzo fought against pro heroes, all with ridiculously overpowered quirks, Izuku and a plethora of other students from 1A. He fought against the number 2 hero and almost won. Number 2, all of Japan. Izuku sees Jinzo as a worthy enough opponent to constantly train and fight against him. No matter when, no matter what, no matter how, he would be fighting Jinzo again and again and again and again. And also, another feature of it is the fact that Jinzo is in the same mercenary group as Yuki. And Izuku finds that very interesting. So he almost feels almost small connection towards Jinzo. Not a very good one, but still. So, I would say, after about a week, it's been the 5 weeks. And guess what? It's time for the day of the test. All the students are lined up in their hero suits. As one by one, all of them will be walking out. They will all be standing in positions. As Aizawa would be explaining to all of them the idea of the test. Basically, while this is happening, Kenda would have ended up raising her hand, asking about what about Izuku? He's not here. As well, I would say after that, Izuku would have sort of almost dramatically, he would have jumped off from the top of the building alongside All Might, as basically how it would go is Bakugo would, I think it was like Bakugo, I would say. I'm pretty sure it was Bakugo that said something on how there are more students than there are teachers, or they're one short. And then after that, I would say Kendo will also ask about Izuku. As soon as this would happen, Izuku and All Might would both jump from atop of the building. Why was Izuku on top of the building? Just to talk to All Might. It was just a casual conversation. After that, they would hear their cue as they would both jump down. Izuku and All Might would both look at everyone. Actually, no. It would just, as I would say that Izuku would appear when he would appear. He doesn't know where Izuku is right now, but he knows that he is most likely here. If he doesn't attend, then he won't get the grade, and then he won't be able to go to the summer camp. But if he does attend, then he'll be assigned his opponent. Kendo would sort of look sad as this would happen, as all the tests would occur, or all of them would occur. I would say Inasa is very strong, but because of his quirk, it's sort of like, to put it in an example, it's harder to control than maybe someone like Todoroki's or Bakugo's. Because like he needs full manipulation over the wind. So because of this, I would say he wouldn't fight someone like Aizawa. He would possibly fight somebody like maybe Power Loader, or maybe even they might even like find Death Arms and use him, because Power Loader, I forgot what his quirk was, but I know it had something to do with ground manipulation. They might even use Cementos for Inasa as well. There's so many Prethas, but I doubt he'll be going against All Might. Todoroki would still be going against Aizawa. And finally, I would say Bakugo and Izuku would be going against All Might. Bakugo, because I would say officially he's the top in the class. But then on top of that, Shinya, Endeavor, Gran Torino, and Best Genus all got a literal representation of how strong Izuku could literally be if he just didn't hold back. They got that representation. 3, the fight with Jinzo. Izuku was literally just flying around the battlefield, taking all sorts of hits and dealing all sorts of damage. Even Kilton, they all thought that All Might would even struggle against him. And Izuku did something like that. So they all believe that Izuku is worthy enough to fight All Might. And then on top of that, Izuku literally is most likely top of the class. I know that I said that Izuku did lose to Todoroki in the UA Sports Festival, but because of that fact that they put him against Aizawa, still, honestly, I would still put him against All Might. So Bakugo would be walking his way towards the site as he would be wondering if Izuku was truly going to show up, as he would even be worried. But as soon as he would be standing in the gate, they would be counting down 10 seconds on when Izuku would be there, as it already had been a couple of minutes. After some time, they would be counting down 10, 9, 8, Katsuki and Kendo. As now everybody would be worried if Izuku was really gonna miss his chance. 5, 4, 3, 2. But before they could get to 1, a gust of wind would appear as all the leaves around the trees would begin flowing around. As Bakugo will put up his arm to block the wind. As he would see who would be on top of the little frame of the site would be long greenish hair tied into a ponytail, a bright red outfit with white pants, and a katana by his side. As Katsuki would look up into Izuku's emerald green eyes, as Izuku would be smiling. Hey Katsuki, you ready? As everybody would be shocked on how Izuku had just gotten there, and almost on the fact that he's here at all. Well, this would happen. Izuku would jump down as I would jump down and look at Katsuki. So, are you ready? Katsuki would sort of look. Katsuki would look at Izuku, telling it. Katsuki would tell Izuku that he's nothing but a show off. Izuku would lightly chuckle at this, as he said, he knows, but he had to be lightly flashy with his entrance. And Aizawa would, I'll say most of the people in the class, when they would probably say the same thing. But when this would happen, when Izuku would fully stand up, Katsuki would look at Izuku. As he would see Izuku's actual chest area, he would see that Izuku's body is a lot more toned. His abs, his pectorals, his collarbone, his neck, everything about Izuku is far more muscular. Katsuki can even lightly see it though whenever Izuku moves his arms. As Katsuki would look confused on this fact, on how in the world this could be. So, but Izuku would just tell Katsuki that it's just a little bit of samurai magic, if he would call it that. But isn't it time for them to take that test? Katsuki would scoff and say whatever, as Aizawa would announce that their test is starting. As they would both walk inside of the arena, seeing All Might. They would both walk inside the arena with the most amount of confidence. As when this would happen, Izuku and Bakugo will both be standing in front of the city until a giant gust of wind would appear. As soon as this would happen, Izuku would draw his blade and stab it into the ground. As Katsuki would have probably ended up getting blown away the same as again. As the city, as the glass and the ground, everything around them would begin to tear away. As when the dust would settle, they would look up to see the symbol of peace, All Might, standing there in his complete figure, with his eyes glowing blue. Well, heroes, are you ready? 'Cause I am here. That's where I'm gonna end this part off. I hope you all have a nice night. I know, sort of an abrupt part to lead this off. But I gotta try and get in as many parts of the series as I can. Because even though it doesn't seem like it, it is pretty much coming to a close. Won't even take that many parts. What is it, 7? Probably going to end off like part 16, 15, maybe even 13 or 14. It's in that range. But either way, I hope you all have a nice night. Thank you all for the support, for the couple of subscribers and the likes and the views that I've got. Thank you all. Please like, subscribe, and good night. Wait, no, let's not stop the recording yet. I have a couple ideas for them. What ifs? Hold on. Of course, the starting what ifs that I've gotten ideas for. Well, number 1, as you can see, what if Luffy had the mind fruit? Or in other words, what if Luffy had telekinesis? A really good idea that I've had. What if Deku was Blastoise? I just like the Pokemon, so searched up humanoid Blastoise, found that image, boom, I thought of a quick idea. What if Deku was Boba Fett? And what if Deku was Moon Knight? Those are all ideas that I've thought of. And then, of course, with other ideas. These is just what I wanted to show you guys, so you guys can comment on what you want to see next after the series is over. And the next thing, well, no, I have a couple of series that I've already started up pretty much and are already wanting to finish, but these are just like little examples.